Welcome back. Now, just over a year ago, we knew how Nigeria got confronted with the Ebola virus and how we had to tackle it, and by the grace of God, and of course the hard work of medical personnel, we did conquer the disease and Nigeria was declared Ebola-free. But it looks like we have another virus in our hands and it seems to be spreading faster than most people can imagine. But I have here with me a doctor who's going to be helping me break this down, Dr. Prela Akambo. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, we're talking Lassa fever, and I know it's something I heard sometime in secondary school when we're discussing types of diseases, but I never really knew that it was going to come in handy at some point. It looks like I need to pay more attention now. For Nigerians who are not sure, I mean, I've heard so many things. Don't go near anywhere that might have rats. What is really the situation now? We're hearing about over 100 deaths. Is that the case?
First of all, I would like us to know a little bit more what Lassa fever is. I know many of us have gotten information from different media sources and social media inclusive. What is Lassa fever, I want to ask? Lassa fever is just one of the viral hemorrhagic diseases. What does this mean? It's a virus, caused by a virus, and it causes hemorrhage, bleeding, and it also has fever as one of its component symptoms. So that's what Lassa fever is. Now, what is the cause, or what is the major vector that transmits this disease? Now, that's where rats come in. So that's why the talk about rats is there. It's very correct, and it's true. That's because rats are the primary rodents and carriers.
So does this mean, I saw something today on social media about people should stop drinking Gary. I don't know what the relation with that is. Are we getting into panic mode? What exactly should we be doing now?
Very good. That is correct. Having people to stop drinking Gary, because Gary, as a Nigerian staple food, its process of production has to pass through some people having to spread it on the ground. So there's the possibility of contamination with rats. And it's not just rats, but the excrement of rats, the feces and the urine. Once a contaminated rat comes in contact with these food sources, drinking Gary, there's no form of heating. You just take it in. So once it's contaminated, then chances are high that you get contract.
Okay, so now, I don't come in contact with any rats, but I come in contact with someone who has Lassa fever. How communicable is it?
Lassa fever as a disease entity is highly contagious and highly infective. What does this mean is the rate of transmission is quite high, and a little dose of the virus can actually cause
so just disease. Mere contact with someone who has it?
No, not that. I was getting to something. Okay. Now, the mode of transmission from human to human on one hand, and then human to the rats on the other hand. So human to human transmission, although for now, according to information from the Federal Ministry of Health, human to human contacts have been very low, almost at zero. So that's a good sign. But how does this happen? Human to human contact occurs when non-infected person comes in contact with body fluid or secretions from an infected person.
Okay, body fluid?
Yes. Examples, you have tears, sweat, blood, urine, feces. You understand? And one other thing that we have to note is sometimes when these infected people cough, because one of the symptoms of the disease, there could be cough. So when you cough and the area is crowded, contaminated viruses are carried in aerosols in the air. So once you are within the vicinity, crowded areas, chances are high that you may contact it by breathing in contaminated aerosols.
This is not the first time that we're hearing about the Lassa fever issue in Nigeria, but what did we do wrong this time? Why is it spreading this way? I mean, I think about 10 states already have reported cases.
Well, diseases of such a magnitude, usually Nigeria is an endemic region. Why? The rats, they are the vectors. And they're the primary host.
The dry season or something?
Yes, they're the host. So now what we're having to contend with is, well, just back from the Christmas season, where people traveled, so there's crisscrossing of different areas in the country. Do you understand? So some areas have these diseases, this Lassa fever, from time to time. So those areas are called endemic regions. So this crisscrossing have carried it over different states in the country. So that's why we're having it. But also to note that from time to time, these diseases come up, causing outbreaks. With proper contamination and proper containment, they come back down. And I think we're on that stage where it's coming back down. We've seen the worst.
Is there a cure for Lassa fever?
Lassa fever can be treated.
Okay.
It can be treated because when you look at case fatality rate is number of people that contact the disease that die. So contacting the diseases, the number of population contacting disease and number that die from the disease. So the case fatality rate for Lassa fever is about 50%, roughly under that. So we've seen that once you present early to a health facility and there's treatment which starts immediately starting with diagnosis. Once there's early treatment and diagnosis and treatment, you find out that people are cured of the disease.
So it's curable?
Yes, it is very, very.
We did hear about a case in Lagos yesterday. I don't know if it's alleged or if it's a fact, but I heard something along those lines, and that people who have had contact with the person have been also contained as well, and all of that. I mean, I know when things happen to Lagos, it's always on a different level because of the population and the fact that it's such a small state, with so many people, so transmission might be higher. How worried should we be?
Well, I want to assure us that we shouldn't be worried. Why am I saying this? First of all, the cause of Lassa fever is well known. You understand? And the government has done quite a number of things that is commendable to contain this disease and this outbreak. Now, what we need to note right now is that the situation where so what we need to note now is with Lagos, we shouldn't be scared because we have diagnostic facilities in Louth and treatments, which is the drugs that they give, ribavirin. It's a drug available in IM and IV form. The government is doing so much, creating protocols among healthcare practitioners to make sure that once people present to the health facilities, they are treated, and then the whole this thing is brought down.
Okay. What should we be doing going forward? Because I mean, like I said, it's not the first time I'm hearing about Lassa fever being an issue, but it looks like, is it not something that can be eradicated? What should we do going forward to make this stop being an issue? Is this something we have to live with?
First of all, Lassa fever we need to understand fully what Lassa fever is, and lots of information have been generated about that. What we need to do now is to get vaccines. They will really help. More research needs to be done by relevant agencies, both private and government, to unravel the mystery. And then once this is done, vaccines and more diagnostic equipment are produced and disseminated adequately so that the ease of notification, diagnosis, and treatment is made very, very short, so that the time within all these things is made shorter, so that people can easily get diagnosed, get treated, and return to their normal life.
What are the risk factors, though? Is death a definite thing if you don't treat it? Is death?
No, it's not. Like I said earlier, there's a case fatality rate. So not everybody that contacts the disease eventually dies. Do you understand? But what we need to let people know is that early presentation at medical centers and health facilities makes it easier for it to be treated, and then people to come back.
What are the symptoms again, just so that we'll clear that up? Okay,
now the symptoms of Lassa fever, the common symptoms are headache, fever, which is not relieved by antimalarials and regular antibiotics, because those are the things that treat most of the fevers. So you have fever, then there's headache, sometimes there's sore throat, weakness, malaise, also weakness, joint pains. Then more often we see cough. You may have cough.
You're talking about bleeding. Is that from coughing or from stooling?
Well, the bleeding that comes up is from all orifices.
Okay.
You have bleeding. It's not like bleeding out. You can even bleed within. So you have bleeding from the eyes, from the nose, the mouth, the ears.
But those are like extreme cases?
When that's in severe cases of it,
okay. On a final note now, I mean, when the Ebola outbreak happened, we know we had certain precautions that people were told to take. Wash your hands, try not to stay in contact with people and all of that. What can a regular Nigerian do now while this is going on?
Very good.
Just to prevent?
Very good. Basically, there are things that you need to do as an individual, for yourself and your family, and there are things you need to do as a member of a community to stop and break the chain of Lassa fever. Now, what do you need to do? First of all, the most important thing is personal hygiene. You're correct there. You wash your hands. Not just wash your hands. Be sure that your house and your environment is tidy so that the rats don't come around, because those rats, they like to live around human beings. They are residential kind of rats. So you make sure your environment is tidy. Then wash your hands. Your cooking utensils, make sure they are washed, because even if you try to do all these things, you cook your food very well. the plates and the spoons you use, what if they get contaminated with feces or urine from the rats? So once you do that, then you're doing a lot. Also, you need to raise awareness, because that's what this is about, raising awareness. So with our social media handles, BlackBerry, Instagram, Twitter, let's pass the message, make phone calls to make people aware of what they need to do to prevent it. So once you are able to, first of all, ensure personal hygiene and ensure there is awareness, then I'm sure a lot will be done to bring down this.
Great stuff. Just before we go, are you comfortable with the way government is handling it so far?
Well, I've been following the actions and activities of the ministry. I would say quite commendable. So with everybody putting his hands on deck, I'm sure that we'll contain this. Like I said earlier, it's going on a downward spiral right now. So we just need to keep the faith, and we've got on our side.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Prela. Thanks for being here today. Like you've heard, make sure you do make sure that your personal hygiene is very is upmost in your agenda. Just be clean, I guess is what he's saying. We're going to go now. Thanks for joining us. Like I always say, you can follow the conversation on Twitter. YNigerTV is the handle. The hashtag to follow is Rubbin Minds. You can also visit the website, yniger.com. Remember, you've never seen young people talk like this before. I'll see you next week.